Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, my name is Gorrie. I'm a photographer based out of Austin, Texas, and for everyone else, welcome back. Today is a bit of an interesting video. A friend of mine named Kevin Deal, who is a really great photographer and ultimate gearhead.
I can't even, you don't even see the lens focus. You're just looking through a viewfinder.
He thought of an idea. He said, you know what, Brandon, why don't we take a Holga camera and why don't we just test it on a model shooting around Austin, Texas, and we'll see who can take the best photos. Now, of course, this was a friendly competition and there was no ill will whatsoever, and we were using $40 cameras with plastic lenses. That being said, I think we got a lot of ground covered and we made new strides in the world of photography. Not really. Despite both of us loving high quality photos, we wanted to drag ourselves through the mud and see just what kind of punch the Holga packs. Of course, it's a world-renowned camera for children and for using as stocking stuffers, but we wanted to use it as the mainline camera in our assault on modern photography. I've actually got the camera with me right here. We got the nice and white one off of Amazon.com. It was $39.99, way too expensive for what it is, and it came with a roll of HP5 plus 400, one of my favorite film stocks to shoot on. We also decided to shoot some of my own personal stock of Portra VC, expired in 2004. Now, this stuff, it's the 160. Now, the VC, it's supposed to be vivid color, and I talk more about it in one of my other videos where I shot in the mountains with it. It's supposed to be big on saturation, which we didn't mind because, to be honest, the photos didn't really come out that great anyways, but we'll talk about that. Let's get into the Holga camera, all right? What is the Holga? What is available in this camera besides that really annoying rattling noise when I do this? I'm actually gonna stop shaking this because I know this camera's picking it up. So this Holga can shoot 12 photos on 120 format, or 16 on 220, and there's a little switch back here that you can just switch between the two. Now, if you try to switch it, it's not really gonna budge, so you kind of have to like jerk it, and it feels like you're breaking the camera every time you make that switch. As well as that, there are several, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 settings on the top of the lens, which, let me see if I can show you right here. And the settings basically go from portrait mode to I'm hiking in the woods mode. Now this, look, does this work? I don't know. We tried our best and we got blurry shots in both scenarios. There's also a cloudy versus sunshine thing right here, and what that basically means is I think it changes between a 1/100th and a 1/200th shutter speed. Once you've got that all settled down, then you've got the latch for opening the camera, which there are no light seals, so you just pray that the photos don't have leaked light on them. And what that looks like is on either side there's these nice little metal things, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you really just, there you go, you push it down on either side like that, and then check this out. This is the best part. Yeah, it just fucking okay. See, I had this problem when we were shooting, and Kevin said you just gotta manhandle it. Okay, I'm breaking this camera. Is it me? Is it you or is it me? Oh my God. So what's fun is you can actually take this back off and you'll bend the little metal parts every time you do. So just be wary of that. And then when you look inside, naturally, I don't even know if you can see that, but when you look inside, you can see that the only thing holding that lens together and that shutter together is a bunch of not even copper wires. I don't even know what that is. It's brassy though. When you're using this camera, and I'm just gonna keep it like this, you take your shot with this guy right here, you go click, you hear that little click, and then here's the fun thing, is when you're winding it, it doesn't stop for you. Instead, what you do is when the back is on, like this, there's a little hole right here, and what that hole will show you is a little printed number on the film, and sometimes it's upside down. And you wait for that number, and then you just go, oh, that must be the correct space between frames. And luckily it was. Of course, Kevin, being the gentleman he is, he hands me the camera and he says, you know what, Brandon, you're up. We're gonna start with Ilford HP5 Plus and we're just gonna keep that train moving. And we did. We set off just down the road and I started taking pictures. I also think that the HP5 Plus handled the light extraordinarily. I do believe that all the shots were underexposed. There's nothing you can do about that because you can't really change so much. I know we were shooting at 1/100th on the lightest setting that it had. So if you're looking to shoot the Holga, do not shoot below 400 ISO unless you're trying to push that film and get the grainiest 6x6 squares you could possibly imagine. I framed each shot intentionally with the black and white to make sure that whatever happened, Tatum would be framed in some way, shape, or form, just in case they came out super dark or super light, or the sharpness wasn't enough to separate her from her background. I have to say though, shooting the Holga is like, it really surprised me. I got the photos back and I was actually very delightfully surprised by the sharpness. I was thinking that the Holga would be this dinky, like, you know, I'm in college, I want to have fun and shoot a disposable camera, and I want it to be blurry and edgy. I want it to be, you know, representative of life in the fast lane as a young person, you know, just figuring out their way in life and having little snapshots to capture the minutia of the fast lane. Rather, it was not that. I thought it was going to be, but it was not. Rather, it really functioned and had the sharpness and kind of rendering as like a knockoff Yashica mat 124G. And I know, because I used to own one of them. I know there's a lot of gearheads out there that will take that statement personally. So we did a portrait shot of her, which was a close-up, and I did change it to the portrait mode. I kept it on the mountain mode the entire time. When I did take a closer up shot of her where she's like leaning in the back and like looking back, that's when I did put it on portrait mode and kind of just like, okay, like if her face is taking up about a fourth to a third of the frame, that's probably what they were gauging for the portrait mode. So I went with it, and it did come out a bit blurry. It came out a little bit, you know, fuzzy, but I think it nailed it pretty damn well, especially considering that Tatum gave the right emotions, gave the right everything, and she just made the scene, you know what I mean? It looked like a 1960s paparazzi shot of Catherine Ross getting out of a taxi cab, and I was just some schmuck on Brooklyn Boulevard somewhere, just like, hey, Catherine, can I take your picture? You know what I mean? So what I'm really saying here is if you want to venture out and use the depth of field adjuster on the camera lens, I say go for it. You'll be rewarded. Now, I've had a lot to say about the black and white. I was a big fan. I love the way the colors came out. I only had to do minor S-curve adjustments on Photoshop. But getting to the Portra 160 NC, that was a different story altogether. You see, it could have been better. It was rough. You know, I was excited for the color, and it didn't deliver. Could I get you standing between those two guys in the yellow, the high yellow?
Eye contact, man.
You guys mind if I take a shot with her and you guys? The club? Take this stand right here. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, then we've got the January dude. That's perfect. Use the lime out, not to confuse anyone.
I want to touch it.
Oh, that's your. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Ran into.
Yeah, there was actually a security guard in there earlier, so you better make it fast. Where he sits.
Yeah, this is where he calls home and he smokes cigarettes. Oh my god. I want to shoot this on digital. The base is kind of like an f8, so the camera shoots at a base of f8, and I was thinking like, okay, cloudy day, I've got my sunny 16 going in my head. I'm like f8 at 160, now it's 200. It was freezer stored. The photo sensitivity shouldn't have gone down so much on the VC because I've used it before and shot it at box speed and it's been fine. So that being said, I really do think it was just, yeah, I just think it was super underexposed, and I think that's the end of it. Love that for you. Hold your breath, and 3. I really do wish the colors came out. It wasn't even artistically bad, it was just bad. It was so funny because there's Kevin and I walking around the streets taking things kind of seriously, and we're like looking around, we're like straining our senses to check out the environment and find a place where we can have Tatum model. And you know, Tatum's taking it seriously as well because, you know, we're shooting with dinky little toy cameras. And the funny thing is we'd have people like looking at us weird, and we just have to be like, oh no, we're doing a model shoot. And then they look at our cameras and they look at us like we literally just got let off the short bus. It was actually really funny. Who's to say we weren't just let off the short bus? But all in all, I definitely would shoot the camera again on black and white. I don't even know why that would be a question, because no one's gonna shoot this camera. No one would ever shoot this camera. People wouldn't even shoot this camera over having a Polaroid because you still have to think with it. You have to think so much with that camera. It's not like a fun little like, oh, I'm gonna take photos. It's more like, how can I make this work? All in all, I was really surprised with the way the camera handled the black and white. I think it's a fun camera. I'm definitely gonna keep it on the shelf. However, you know, when it comes to shooting 6x6, I might just stick to the Yashica Mat 124G or just buy a Mamiya 6. Not spend that much money to get a 6x6. Are you joking? Well, thank you guys so much for watching the video. It was a fun little time, fun little experiment. If you have any questions whatsoever, please just leave them in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a like. If you like me as a person, I know it's hard, give me a subscribe. And rest assured, I will have all the necessary links to both Kevin Deal's portfolio, website, and YouTube channel provided below so you can see his shots, as well as all my own accoutrements of the social media world. Thank you guys. Goodbye.